Jules and Gems, welcome back to another week here on the Vantage Point. I'm your lady, Azandi Malinki, and you're tuned into your spiritually conscious, culturally awakened podcast. And I want to thank you for joining us another week now. Enough people said another one, another one, another one last week, meaning you wanted this conversation to continue. And it is a necessary conversation, I would say. So we want to continue with this conversations of fairy tales, bringing back in our guests, as you all know, my favorite, Reverend Dr. AJ Varma, bringing him back to have more uh, hard, difficult conversations, right? Truthful conversations. Sometimes the pill's a little hard to swallow. Sometimes, it's refreshing, it's awakening to know that we're not the only one to see that things are not right. But if you're here right now, and if you know that the world we're living in today is not quite right, that there's a lot of things going on that needs some examining, that needs some analysis, that needs some changing, needs some inner work being done, then you're in the right place. You're here on the Vantage Point, and we want to thank you. So I need y'all to comment. I need y'all to subscribe. I need y'all to send this message out. I need y'all to come through and helping us share this message of truth, please. And as we do always, we'll do our best to do our part in giving you what you need to fill your cup. So I want to bring to the stage our guest, Reverend Dr. AJ Varma, thanking you again for your time, thanking you again for your patience with us, and welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
Yes. How are you doing today?
We're gonna find out in a minute, right?
Yeah, we're gonna find out. I'm just trying to test the waters to see how how this message is coming through today. Testing the waters. Okay, so last week we spoke a lot about how the fairy tale shows up in our lives, right? We spoke about men and women in sports, and we got into some things. But I wanted to pick up and speaking about expectations because today's title deals with the expectations that we have set in our minds based on the fairy tale. And not just expectations, we're going to get a little bit into religion as well. But um, in your book, which we'll be going into a lot today, Fairy Tales Breed Adult Religions, it talks about expectations and it speaks specifically about the word happiness and how we all want to have some sort of happiness. Like who doesn't want to be happy? Happy within your family life, within your relationship with your children, within just your work life, everything. Everybody seeks the sense of fulfillment and happiness. And you express that the word happy, it sounds good, but it really comes from the word happenstance, which means luck or by chance, right? It's not guaranteed that you will experience this fulfillment, but we spend our lives seeking this fulfillment through the expectation of having happiness. So
Right.
I wanted you to see if you can help us understand that a little better, going a little deeper. When you say um, expectations, I want to talk about how we, as melanated people, men and women alike, I want to start in relationships with each other in families, how we have false expectations and what those false expectations are.
I think the first thing we need to do, matter of fact, I know the first thing we need to do is define expectation, right?
Hmm.
Expectancy. Expect, the root of it is the word spect, as in speculation,
Okay.
spectacle. To view, what do I expect? What am I looking to see? My expectations are what I'm looking to see. And oftentimes, what I'm looking to see, unfortunately, because we have not been in a position to dictate our narrative, right? We're trying to live the narrative or the goals or the aspirations of the dominant societies that we're living in, right? And what they say is supposed to be done, what they say things are supposed to be. And so and Bibi Shahrazad Ali, she spoke about it in her book, The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, as well as The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man.
Yes.
For example, we go to university, and she was saying that most other races go to university, specifically white women, women, Asian women, uh, East Indian, Asian, and as well as Chinese or Japanese or Korean. They go to Arabs. They go to university to find a husband. They're going to get an education, but along with that education is the expectation that when they come out of the university, they're going to be with someone and
Mhm.
begin life, new education, spouse, family life begins.
Yes.
False expectation in the case of melanated women
Mhm.
has been, unfortunately, that yes, I'm going to get my degree, and I've said this. If my sister, she'll hear this. My mom will hear it, and they know it's true. My mom taught me growing up. Myself, it was myself, my brother, and my sister. My younger sister had died already, so just the three of us. And she would always tell the boys, my brother and I, "I'm teaching you how to cook because one day you're going to be married and your wife will not know how to cook African food, or may not, she said, may not know how to cook African food, and you're going to have to teach her. I'm teaching you how to cook because one day you're going to have a family, and when you have your family, it's too expensive to eat out. It's cheaper to cook food. It's cheaper to cook food to feed the whole family than it is to go out and buy a meal and feed the whole family. You're going to pay three times as much." She would just say these things, but then I would hear her in the same, "You're going to get married. You're going to have a wife. You're going to have a family." For my sister, she would say, "You got to get to school to get an education so you won't need no man."
Mm.
So this is the economy there, right?
Right.
This is almost like
Right.
the Willie Lynch papers, right?
Right.
In one breath, she's preparing her male offspring to be husband, to be father, to provide whatever the things would be that she would teach me. And she did a good job, right? I think she did a good job. I had to say that
Mhm.
because she'll get me, right? And but in the other breath, she was telling my sister, who she was making sure was going to get the same education, but she was saying, "So you won't need a man. You won't have to depend on a man." So I would always think, imagine if my mother was just my mother, and then she was my sister's mother separately, right? Two different women, both preaching, one to their daughter, one to their son. My sister and I would have had no chance of ever being together, because
Yes.
my sister's expectation was that her degree, her education, whatever money, salary she would make, would be so she would never need me. And my
Mm.
expectation was everything I'm learning is to be able
Mm.
to provide or protect or guide or work with or whatever.
Mhm.
It depends on how
Right.
everybody looks. And so
Mm.
that's where the expectations, the mothers, the parents, the grandmothers, the aunts, the fathers, the uncles, they're giving a false reality.
Mm.
We cannot, and the Willie Lynch paper speaks about it, right? Regardless of whether he was a real person, what the paper is saying, that's real.
Mm. Mm.
You have the daughter, and she's, again, my mother, like many mothers, my mother would say to my sister, "You see, Amadou and Anthony, they can never get pregnant. If they get pregnant, we'll be rich because we'll be the first men to get pregnant." I'm like, right? She said, she said, "But you can get pregnant," right? So
Mhm.
she had a set of rules for my sister,
Right.
right? She had rules for all of us, but then these rules, they took a little bit of a left right turn when it came to boy girl. And I do understand, again, yes, my sister could get pregnant and we couldn't, that
Mhm.
100%. But like in the Willie Lynch paper, you would overprotect the boys
Mhm.
and put all the burden and responsibility on the female.
Mhm.
So by the
Right.
time most people are of age to university, begin dating and looking for a spouse, we're already tainted. We've
Right.
already heard, as a young lady, you would have heard already from age 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, for about 18 years, from around age 3 or 4, it begins.
Mhm.
Don't need no man. Be careful, you're gonna get pregnant. And this mantra that everybody's preaching.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the expectation of a young lady then is, can't trust men, right? They're gonna knock you up and leave you. They're gonna this, that, this. So we're now the East Indian is not telling their child that,
Mm.
but
That's
she's
true.
she's in the community. He's in a
Mm,
community. They go to the same ashram. They say the
mhm,
same prayers. They speak the language. They eat the same
mhm,
foods.
mhm,
They're culturally intact. Our expectations are the result of having a lack of culture, a lack of religious identity, a lack of foundation. Again, our parents and those of us who are now parents or even grandparents did the best that they could, but we have to recognize we can do better. We can take what they've done and build on it to do better, right? Expectations off of the dominant society given to us, castigated into our minds as to what we're supposed to think. Then, same way you get that from our parents, or some of us may have been people who said this, we then watch the television. The shows that we watch that are geared for the black audience and the shows that are watched that are geared for the white audience, two different shows. The white audience has shows that predominantly show mother, father,
mhm,
children, dog,
mhm.
grandparents. You know what I'm saying? There's a
Yes.
there's a family structure.
Structure.
There's a
Hmm.
family unit.
Yes.
There's accepted. Even in the comedies, there's always a structure. But when it comes to the black family, right? If I watch enough Tyler Perry, and I'm not attacking Mr. Perry, I'm just saying, but if I watch enough of it, I would say black man ain't no good because
Yes.
it's not this this notion is always the black woman struggling. Oh, she gonna overcome, punch through walls. Oh, she gonna do it
Hmm.
on her own. And then
One
we start,
sided.
and I've heard my sisters, right, not just by my mother but by my father. Oh, and I've heard them say things like, "Oh, that's not true. Where are you getting this from?" The dominant society has programmed, whether it was girlfriends back in the day, or with Tracy Ellis Ross and the others, or the game, and it's always this false notion. So by the time that fairy tale of life is not just the fairy tales Cinderella, but the fairy tales reality TV, the fairy tales the daytime soap operas, the fairy tales the nighttime soap operas, right? Cosby Show was more reality. That was reality TV. That there are
Right.
professional black people that get married and raise their
Hmm.
families and have goals. I know many families. I know Michelle and Antoine in Tampa. I know Tiffany and Philip. I know, and I can just look. These are
Hmm.
families that mom, dad, children in med school, daughter nurse, other daughter this, son that. They're intact. I know
Yes.
Latino families, the Beltrams. There's people that I know who are living that,
Hmm.
but that's not what I see on the what they used to call the idiot box or the boob tube or the television. I see there, and the more you
Hmm.
watch it, even though we'll say, well, I'm just watching it for entertainment, but the
Hmm.
subconscious mind does not know it's merely entertainment. Why?
Right.
Because it'll make you cry. If you know it's entertainment, why are we crying? If we know
Hmm.
it's entertainment, why are we jumping? If we know it's
Hmm.
entertainment, or why are we reacting like it's reality? Because the
Right.
subconscious mind sees it as real, and what the
Hmm.
mind sees as what the eyes see, the heart and mind must accept as real.
Hmm.
What the
Hmm.
eyes see, the
Hmm.
heart and mind must
Must
accept
accept
as real.
as real.
So the heart, and I was one of my elders way back in Birmingham, Alabama in 1993. His name was Elder Abdul Malik. He was with the Nation of Islam. He and I used to always talk, and he's with the ancestors. But he would always tell me, Brother AJ, you know what what the eyes see, the heart and mind will accept as real, or must accept as real. So I'm saying it because that's the reality. People are seeing with their eyes, not realizing the effect it has on the heart, the emotions, and the consciousness, the mind. So between the
Hmm.
consciousness of the mind and the conscientiousness of the heart, we're disconnected. There's a disconnect. And that disconnect is what causes the problem. The disconnect. We're not dealing with reality. And that doesn't mean people don't see reality, right?
Right.
It
It
just
just
means they
means
don't
that.
deal with reality, but they see it.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
know it's not working. We can see that, right? Ray Charles is blind and dead, and he can see it, right? So go ahead.
Okay. Well, what is some of, sorry, the last thing you just caught me. Um, what are some of these expectations that are being asked of melanated men by melanated women, right? that you would say are fairy tale expectations? What has maybe been asked of you or people you know? Like, can you give us real time examples of what those things are, and what should the expectations then be? If those are not the expectations, what should they be?
Let me say a few things, right? Was there something that was said here I want to just touch on?
Hmm.
Somebody said she knew that probability was not in your sister's favor, but that again is not true. The
Mm,
probability of my sister getting married and getting divorced and me getting married and getting divorced is equal, right? 50-50. That's the
mm,
divorce rate. That's the probability. The reality is not in not telling my sister what could happen. That wasn't the issue. That would be reality. This
mm,
can happen. That's not how it was is often said. It is said as if you don't listen, you're gonna get pregnant. Gonna. That's definitive. And the power of speaking into a child's mind that reality. And this is why so many people walk around with this anxiety and not knowing what to do, not knowing what to say. Now, to your question, right? There's nothing wrong with warning it. It'd be like me saying to my son, "Listen, stop hanging with those boys over there. You keep hanging with them, you're gonna get in trouble." As opposed to, "Go ahead, keep hanging with those boys. You're gonna see." Both statements, but one
mhm,
I'm affirming. It's like telling a child, "Stop being so stupid." You just told the child they're being stupid. They heard stupid.
mm.
As
Right.
opposed to, you're very intelligent. I know you're intelligent because you're my child, and we're an intelligent family. You're
Mm,
one of us. Why are you
mm,
acting in a way that makes people question your intelligence? You just
mm,
told the child check themselves. So verbiage is very important in the
mhm.
development of not just the child, but any even adults. Now,
Okay.
some false expectations to your question, Sister Zandi. Some false expectations is coming in with expectations,
Mm.
right? Okay, let me tell
I'm
you
like,
what I
wait a
mean.
minute.
Yeah, let me tell you what I mean.
Okay.
We're not basing our see the China man and China woman have expectations based on their society and culture. Their expectations is because they've studied the Taoist texts. They've studied Japanese Shinto. They've studied Tai Chi, they've studied karate, they've studied Aikido, they've studied jujitsu, they've meditated, they have beads, they've been Confucius, they've been Buddhist, they've been Hindu, the people of India. They have a system. By following that system, their expectations are reality because the system says, do this, look for this. Do that, look for that. So it's a map. If I do this, if I look for a wife, if I'm Hindu from Punjab region, in Punjab region, we eat these types of foods, we say these types of prayers, we walk, talk, act these types of ways. If I'm going to look for a wife, I want her from Punjab region. Why? Because we will have more things in common than different. We, in so-called modernity, as we call it, modern culture, we want a person who's exciting and different and this and all of those things come with a question mark. They come with an abstract because it's not okay. They're excited. It's like in the fairy tale, Lois Lane. Lois Lane doesn't really, she don't want Clark Kent. Clark Kent is the good guy. He's attentive. He worries about Lois. He wants to make sure Lois is safe. He's always there. He's nerdy. He's compassionate. She don't like him. She wants the guy who's detached, who flies away at a moment's notice. Boom, he's gone. He comes back, picks her up, then he's gone again. He's exciting. He catches the helicopter. Peter Parker. Mary Jane doesn't want Peter Parker. He's her neighbor. Known her whole life. She's not interested in him. He's not exciting. She wants Spider-Man, the guy with the tights on. That's flamboyant. That disappears. That's not dependable. That's not reliable. That can't be, you know what I'm saying? This is again, the notion, society, most females spend, and this is Shahrazad Ali, so I don't want nobody coming for me because I stand by her teachings and that of Frances Cress Welsing and that of Marimba Annie and that of Lenora Hudson Weems and others. When we look at the fake ideals or goals, yes, most people make all the mistakes in college. Black people, I'm talking about now, right? Sisters, I'm talking about in this moment, not attacking.
Yes.
And then you want to have all your fun in college. You're gonna meet different guys. You're gonna sleep around. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. You're gonna go out. You're gonna with your girls. You're gonna go this. You're gonna finish school. Then you're gonna go out with your girls. You're gonna go on vacations. You're gonna travel. You're gonna meet random people. You're gonna have hookups. You're gonna do all this mess and expect that at the end of all this mess, your mind is intact.
Mm, okay.
I'm expecting, right? Because and I tell my daughters this, and this is not an attack against females because I know they're going to try to twist it, but I tell my daughters this: you have to understand that you are Mother Earth.
Mm,
You take on that which you lay with, and that which you lay with becomes a part of you for life. There's no washing it away. There's not a shower gel or whatever kind of spices and oils that it's a part of you for life.
mm,
So you must think. Well, does it? What about men? We do not take on the essence of a female, right? We give of our essence. This is biology 101 for anyone who wants to argue it. This is just biology and anatomy and physiology, right? We give of our essence, the DNA, the genetic material. So females have to understand in the fairy tale world, I can go take a shower and it's gone. And I just put it behind me. And that's wonderful in the world of fairy tales. But in the world of reality, blood, DNA, genetic material is now a part of the person. And how this is going to affect how many times have people in the false expectation, now I meet a girl or I meet a guy and I expect this girl or guy to get me, but I'm coming to them as a man or a woman with all these idiosyncrasies, all these things that are not syncing. Idio mind syncrasies, things that are contrary, that are not syncing with reality. My expectations as a man, if I'm a man from culture, then I have cultural expectations. If I'm a man from street, I don't have any. I just want to be with you. I want to sleep with you. That's it. That's all I got. We're gonna have a family. What does that mean? I don't know. How are we gonna raise our children? I don't know. What faith system are we going to teach them? I guess Christianity. That's what my mama is. What are we going to teach them different? We must have to move away from the fairy tale and the illusions. We must have a culture. We must have a spiritual system. Chinese have Chinese culture and Chinese spiritual system. Chinese spiritual system, Tao, Confucianism. That's the spiritual system. Chinese
yes.
culture, kimonos, Japanese, right? Kimonos, the garbs, certain things. That's the culture. Arab, they have Arab religion, which can be Sabian, can be Islam, right? Different religions that are found in the so-called Middle East. And
Mm,
then there's Arab culture.
mm,
Hmm? Okay.
yes.
We of the diaspora and many of us of the continent today, because we've given up our culture, given up our language, given up our spiritual system, we're trying to adapt Eurocentric religion with an
Hmm.
S and Eurocentric cultures with an S to African melanated relationships. And that in itself it's not real because
Okay.
it's contrary to our anatomy and our biology and physiology. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So how does dysfunctional, because we're going to keep with this expectations for a moment, how does dysfunctional melanated families relate to that of fairy tales? This is something you also spoke about in your book.
How does dysfunctional?
Melanated families relates to that of fairy tales.
Well, because a dysfunctional family sets in the mind of the offspring that that dysfunctionality is normal. right? If I see my mom and dad always arguing, I believe arguing is normal.
Mhm.
Unless I'm in a house where there's no arguing. If I grow with a mother and father and they're never arguing, guess what my expectations are for a relationship?
No arguing.
No arguing. If I grow with a mother and father and they're always arguing, what's my expectation? This is why they say people who were abused become abusers.
Right.
Right? If my mom beat me with extension cords, if I'm not conscious, I'm gonna beat my children with extension cords and say, I used to get it, now it's your turn. Doesn't make sense.
Mm.
So
Right.
that dysfunction. But now if my family is cultured,
Mhm.
meaning they have a spiritual system and a culture. If that spiritual system and that culture are one, right? Oftentimes we'll have black culture where I'm black, I'm a proud black person, but our spiritual system is contrary to that blackness.
Right.
Or sometimes I'll go to the black church, but then I don't have a black culture to match. So the child is missing something. When we say that the melanated culture, the if I'm raised in my culture, I was raised in a community of culture, right? That was
Mhm.
promoting Nubian, literal Nubia, South Sudan culture. We were
Mhm.
taught when we ate our food, we used three fingers off the right hand only. We wore white robes every day, right? We we only ate foods that had been properly slaughtered. We had
Mhm.
gardening. We spoke another language in our community. We spoke Arabic and Hebrew only. Whenever you came home, that's what you spoke. You went out to work or whatever to deal with the public, you spoke English. So I grew in a community of men and women, adults that I was looking up to, who showed me what women are supposed to do. I saw women uh, whether if they were living with their husband, I didn't get to see that part, but those men who and their wives, who the wives may had to sew their husband's clothes or make clothes for their husband, and I would see the husband sometimes come out in the community and have to try on the clothes, and the wife would be measuring. So I said, oh, so wives make husbands' clothes, right? I grew up even before that with my mom and my family from Liberia, Ghana, and Nigeria. And I would see the Nigerian and the Ghanaian and the Liberian aunties of mine and how they dealt with their husbands. They were always in the kitchen. They were always cooking. They were always making clothes. My mom was a physician, but yet she made clothes. She sewed our clothing. She would go out of her way to make our clothing. So my expectations were based off of, so you can be a doctor and still make clothing for your children. You understand? It set that in motion. My expectation was so for me, from those points, growing up, going out in life, I always had a little bit of an issue because my expectation was ladies are ladies regardless of their education. But the dominant society said, no, your education now means you don't have to be a lady. I had an aunt patient who was an anesthesiologist. I had another aunt from Jamaica through marriage, Auntie Tagla. She was a nurse practitioner. I had uncle, so I had professional family members, but none of my aunts who were all nurses or doctors or anesthesiologists, physicians, none of them ever allowed their education to trump their family. It just didn't happen. And so I knew none of the men ever had the women walking in the rain. None of the men ever had the women homeless. There was just certain things that was normal. And then the community that I moved into, it confirmed that even more. So now that culture and that religious identity would then shape how I would see the world. But now you get into the world and it doesn't match. What you're seeing isn't matching your culture. So then you end up saying, I've got to find people into my culture, or I must be involved in resurrecting my culture in order to be around people that I can get along with. I'm using me as an example, but I'm
Right.
using that example because it actually happened, right?
Mhm.
And that's so when you're looking at the fairy tale, we're talking, black people got to understand that we are a people who don't have a culture or a spiritual system that is intact.
Yes.
And so we're feeling, as they say, feeling along in the dark for the light switch and
Mhm.
don't realize we've already passed it. We walked right past the light switch, we touching everywhere else, and it was right by the door because we
Mhm.
didn't know it was by the door. And that's
Mhm.
what the fairy tale is so dangerous. It is so,
Mm.
and even though I'm saying this, there's going to be people who hear this and go, "Yeah, that's true." And within 20 minutes later, they're going to go right back to the default because the
Right.
programming has been so ingrained. And
Mm-hmm.
I know our religion, our church, the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, starting in January, we're going hard into our culture. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
lose some members. We understand that it happens, but we're going to go hard into our culture of what's
Mm-hmm.
expected of women, and not just expected, what women will be, what ladies will be, right? No
Mm-hmm.
mean, nobody's going to get beat up, and what men are going to be, and how we're
Mm-hmm.
going to dress and walk and talk, and that's it. And the people who
Yes.
don't like it, masalam, shalom lakum, shalom, God bless, right?
Yes.
Because it's our immunity. Because
Yes.
Bibi Madambani made it very clear: your culture is your immune system. It's your immunity,
Mm.
and so
Mm-hmm.
we need.
That's true. I want to read a part from your book. Again, this is Children's Fairy Tales Breeds Adult Religions. So if you're out there and this is your first time joining us, if I were you, would go to www.journeyhomegroup.com and get this book. But here it says, and this is to the dysfunctional families, it says that this is true. In many of these fairy tales, there is hate and animosity rampant in the immediate family, so much so as is to cause harm and death to the family member. From mothers trying to kill daughters, parents abandoning children, and children's attitude of entitlement towards the parents, selfishness, cannibalism, bestiality, murder, depression, child abuse, both physical and mental, theft of property, etc. Now, if we go into religion and then you go on. So, as we look at the dysfunctional household of melanated people, this directly reflects the character and storyline of these fairy tales, of these Greek and Roman mythologies. Even me taking a course on it, they spoke so much about how this child had to kill this parent because the rule is that this parent did this to this person.
Rivalry.
And so it was a lot of, and so
Rivalry.
reading this, yeah, I wanted to see if you can kind of explain that to us a little bit.
Well, what happens is all of the Greek Odysseus and Homer's, the Homeric tales, Jacinius's writings, all of these writings, which to the Greeks were not fairy tales, this was their religion. They actually
Right.
believed it, worshipped it, lived it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always based on rivalry. It's always based off of rivalry between two brothers, between two sisters, between a brother and a sister, husband and wife, evil witch. And it's the television shows we watch, right? Because the writers that are writing TV today, they are reading the Greek, the Arab, the African legends and folklores, and they're quote unquote borrowing, stealing, right? These things without giving it credit, right? The African and the indigenous tales of the South Americans and North Americans and the Caribbeans and Greater and Lesser Antilles, theirs was always a moral, a story of morality. With the Greeks, it didn't end in morality. It ended in debaseness. It ended in trickery. It ended in, and so when we're influenced by that, whether you're watching the soap operas, whether it's Coronation Street if in the UK or General Hospital, Loving, One Life to Live, Being Mary Jane, Scandal, all of these types of shows, it's creating an illusion that's to the betterment of the producers and those of their kind, because it's always going to put them at the advantage because they know that life imitates art. Life often imitates art. So the art that you watch, the art that you produce, the type of songs you sing, the types of dances you do, the types of uh, 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 drawings we look at, the magazines we read are going to reflect in our life. This was understood. And we have to understand that today. It's not a harmless television show. It's a very destructive television show. And they know it's destructive. If they didn't, why do they put warnings? Rated PG, rated R, rated X, PG 13, suggested parent 17. Why are they putting that? If they're telling me this thing, you got to be at least 13 to watch. What if my 13-year-old's not mature? What if they're not the consciousness of 13 until they're 16? Now they're getting it 3 years early. What if my 17-year-old is not mature enough? They're the age of 17, but what if their consciousness and their minds are not? So we're sending children, and we as adults are watching shows and not understanding what the programming is about. And so we end up in a real life fairy tale. But in every fairy tale, there's a villain. The Homeric writings, there's a villain. Hmm? There's a hero and there's a victim. And unfortunately for us, we always in relationships, we start off, everybody's on good behavior. You put away your crazy, I hide mine. Both the crazy people are left under lock and key. And oh, this is the person, this is him, this is her. I found him. And then we begin to know each other. And little by little, the
Yes.
mask starts to slip down. It's like, and by the time it's finished, the eyes are crossed. And you're like, well, who the hell is this? And
Right.
he or she, again, if there's a culture and a true religious identity, then that will do. And this is why I get, yes, Sister Jan, that's why in all the movies, my hero. If you save the woman, oh, my hero. And everyone's
Mhm.
looking for this hero. Everyone's
Right.
looking is for someone. I'm not looking for no one to save me, but you're looking for someone to, when you're not feeling good, make you feel better. Tell you all the good things. Tell you how
Hmm.
great you are. Tell you everything. You're the best. You cook the best. You walk the best. You smile the best.
Yes.
Taste the best. Smell the best. Look the best. You're always. You're the thing of my dreams. And what? That's an illusion. But
Yes.
this is what they told us we're supposed to want. You
Mm,
follow? We're supposed to get a marriage with a white dress.
mm,
Doesn't matter if you don't deserve a white dress.
mm.
Some people used to wear black dress, purple dress, any other color but white. But we're wearing white for purity. That's an
Right.
illusion
Because we're not pure.
because we just know just the damn night
Mm.
before the bridal shower and the what they call it for the man, the groom's
The
night out, right? I'll call it that, right?
yes.
Right? What happened at those parties just last night?
Hmm.
So here we
Hmm.
just last night, less than 24 hours ago, both of us was doing corruption, and now we're gonna and we're gonna walk you. I'm gonna walk you down the aisle, proud
Mm.
as a father, and the man's gonna come with his groomsmen, and then she's gonna say, John, ever since I met you, you're the A to my apple. And the C to my
Yes.
citrus, and the man's gonna take out his paper and say, Suzette,
Mm.
and he's going to confess his love and read you an ode. It's backwards.
Yeah.
It's not culturally sound. It's not religiously sound. I got to propose. I got to get on one knee, bow to no person.
Mm.
Lila Ray, the Most High, the Heavenly One, the Great I
Mm.
Am. Why are you bowing to some man or woman? No, but you're
That
supposed to
was
take
gonna
a
actually
knee.
come up
I take
also.
a knee
Yeah.
in football. You catch the ball, you take a knee because you're not coming. It's called a touchback. But why am I taking a knee? But the fairy tale says I'm supposed to take a knee, and you're supposed to say, "Oh my!" You're supposed to act shocked, and then give you the ring. And you
Yes.
say, "Oh
That's
my
yes.
God! You mean the ring
Yes.
we picked out?
That's
Oh
it.
my God! It's the ring we
You gotta
picked out."
cry about it. You gotta. Yeah. That's it.
And it's like, and so we all have played this game. I've played it at some points in my life, I'm sure, right? Uh, but at some point you gotta outgrow it and say, is it productive or is it counterintuitive?
So is it that we can't maintain because if we love the fairy tale and we want to live the fairy tale
No,
and
it's
the
all
man
we
is
know.
obviously
No, the
participating
problem
in it, right?
the problem is not
Because
you love it, is that
mhm,
it's all you know.
it's all you, right, it's all you
It's
know.
all you
So
know.
is it a matter of maintaining it? Because even Bibi Shahrazad Ali, she speaks in her book, The Wedding, the beginning, the middle, and end, the good wife syndrome, how everything starts off right and etc. Right, but at some point it takes a turn.
No, but that
So
was in 1980s. Nowadays, it
mhm,
don't even start off right nowadays. No, it don't.
that's true. Yeah, yeah, that's true.
That was
Go
nice. She
ahead.
wrote that in 88, 89.
That's
If
true.
we had to rewrite that, it don't even start off right. Now people
Mm,
just straight tell you, I'm gonna be who I am. You gotta accept me as me.
mm.
That
Mhm. But the honeymoon phase where everybody is in love with each other and you treat each other the way you should treat the other person up until a certain point where now, you talk crazy, you
when
act
that's
any
that's
type of
when
way,
yeah,
you
because
mhm,
the dopamine, okay, the initial of the relationship, the
mhm,
oxytocin and the dopamine levels are high. The oxytocin and the dopamine levels are high. People are copulating often. More copulation, more oxytocin, more dopamine levels. But then honeymoon's over. The physical honeymoon stage is over. Now copulation is less. Less copulation, which the natural sexual union of the science and art of sex is taught by the men priesthood, Love Lies Liberation talks about. Less copulation, less connectivity. It's like an iron. An iron has a plug. You plug that plug into the wall, you turn on your iron, you start ironing. You unplug the iron, it still has enough heat in it to iron quickly a t-shirt. The hotter the iron was, the more shirts it can iron without being plugged in. But eventually you got to plug the iron back in. But society says, some of the old tales, let me see some of the ones I used to hear my mom say. Yeah, don't tell myself when you get married, don't sleep with your husband every day. He'll get bored of you. If you sleep with him all the time, he'll get bored of you. You gotta let him starve a little bit. And I'm hearing this, and I'm hearing aunties say this to my girl cousins,
Right.
and I'm
Right.
going, as I got older, I said, that's actually wrong. That's not
Because
true. We're
hmm
passing misinformation
down to the
because
next
there's no
generation.
culture to check it and go, Mom, love you, but what you just said don't make no damn sense.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking dopamine levels. You're talking oxytocin levels. You're saying you're going to become tighter the less you co-inhabit.
Mm-hmm.
Biologically, that's not going to happen.
Right.
It's
Because I was
just
going to
not.
ask what role sex plays in fairy tales and the monotheistic
Well,
writings.
in the monotheistic writings,
Mm-hmm.
we never get to see the sex.
Mm-hmm.
We just see Prince Charming put the sleeping girl, wakes her up, puts her on the horse, kisses her, puts her on the horse, and walks away. And then we see the same Prince Charming in the next story with another girl.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the same Prince Charming, and he's in Rapunzel, he's in Sleeping Beauty, he's in Snow White, he's in Cinderella, he's in Shrek. So we never get to go on the other side and go to the place called Happily Ever After and
Mm-hmm.
find out what really happened,
Mm-hmm.
right? The high doesn't wear off. The thing necessary to create the high. Someone said the
Mm-hmm.
high wears off. No, the high is the dopamine and oxytocin levels are established between the man and the woman via sacred energy exchange. Copulation, pushing, counter thrusting, and thrusting, yin yang, hu he, dhakar wal unth, male with female, to and fro, up and down, in and out, centripetal, centrifugal. That is what generates energy in any machine, including the human body. But if we disconnect that connectivity, the high didn't wear off. You stopped doing the thing that was necessary to maintain the hormone levels. I'm not saying this only. Doctors are saying this. Psychiatrists are saying
That's
this.
true.
But
Mm-hmm.
society has eliminated the human element. I don't
Right.
need a human element anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a man, I can go buy my sex toy, pocket vagina. And that's it. That's all I need. I don't need no woman
Yes.
with stress. Or I can go to a strip club and I can pay
Mm,
somebody $100 in ones, and she gonna ride my lap
mm,
until whatever. Or if I want to go in the back room, I can raise whatever the back room money is, and I can go in the back, and that's it. And so there's a disconnect. The females now go to strip clubs too. They can go to strip club, have a male stripper, and he can take clothes off, and she can go in the back too. That's happening. Nobody talks about it. You follow?
hmm
Fairy tale.
now we spoke about this male before, and this male, character figure, and how good girls seek bad guys and bad guys seek the good girls or whatever. But you mentioned about Prince Charming and Prince Charming being the pimp. Can you please, before we
Yeah.
move on, we got to get into that a little bit.
Okay. Let's just look at it. Prince Charming,
Okay. Hmm.
and I'll see if I can bring it up.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring it up and just see if we can share it.
Okay. We're gonna share it. Hang on one
Okay.
second.
I'm doing Prince Charming clothes, and then I'm gonna bring up pimp clothes.
Mm, mm,
And when we look at it, we see it.
mm,
Again, if we look with just basic eyes, right? Just just common sense.
If our
Uh,
eyes was attuned, we would have been able to recognize it
right.
naturally.
That's the pimp clothes. You see the pimp clothes on the screen?
Yes, we do.
All
Mm-hmm.
right. You see the hat?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Prince Charming. You see the staff? Can y'all see Prince
Yes.
Charming?
Yes. Yes.
Look
Yes.
at Prince Charming. He got the staff. He
I don't
got the
see
cape.
Prince Charming.
Oh, you don't see Prince Charming? Sorry. I thought it would just let me jump. Okay, let's go back.
Mm.
That was the pimp. Now let's go to Prince Charming. And he's standing there. He got a staff. He got a cape. He has a crown. And you see the pimp clothes right here? You see the pimp
Wow.
clothes?
Yes.
And we see Prince Charming's clothes. We see the pimp
Mm.
clothes. And we see so this you're being set up.
Okay.
The thing that
Okay.
you want, the bad guy, you want Prince
Yeah.
Charming, and to charm is to bewitch. The very
Mm.
word charm, it means to bewitch, to trick.
Mm.
And so people act shocked. I can't believe he lied to me. You was asking for a trick, a John and a trick. These
Mm.
are terms used in prostitution. And unbeknown to so many women, I attempted to read this book with some of the sisters. We didn't get through it because I could see that sometimes when you talk so much reality, there were sisters in the room that didn't want to hear it. So
Right.
I said, okay, I'm
Right.
wasting my time. I'll get another group and I'll teach them, right? Who
Mm-hmm.
actually want to know what the reality. So many men right now that I know of.
Yes.
I'm 52 years old. So back in 1993, so you're looking about almost 30 plus years ago. I'm in my early 20s. And at this time was when the Pimp Chronicles came out. Bishop Don Juan, there's all pimps up, hoes down. HBO was doing all these specials on pimps. And guys who were in their early 20s, late teens, 18, 19, all the way up into their early 20s and 30s were reading this Pimp Chronicles. And were now going out to actually carry out what they were reading. I'm not talking about what I heard. I'm talking about the people I'm talking to. And these were not bums. These were not derelict. These were people. And they were saying, yeah, you got to do it like this. You got to treat them like this. And that became a whole thing. And so people didn't know. Same thing happened when Steve Harvey, when he did his book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. There are men who read that and said, oh, this is what you're looking for? I can do that. Now they put it in the movie, but they didn't tell you that that actually happened. You see? But if we have a culture and a true religious identity, it's going, any man that's in tune with his culture and his spiritual system is not being nice because the guys are saying it. He's being righteous because he's a righteous man. But if I want chaos, a lot of women want chaos. They call it excitement. A lot of men want chaos. They call it fiery. And then there's those of us is like, no, I don't want no drama, whatever attitude I don't want it. I don't want no attitude. I don't want no bad vibes. I'm good. There's 8.5 billion other people on the planet. Why are we gonna allow
Mm-hmm.
ourselves to feel, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't make
Right.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
culture.
Right.
Indigenous culture said you stay in line or you're on your own. The dominant society, you're off the screen. The dominant society says you can act a fool and you got to
Mm-hmm.
take this man or this woman as they are.
Right. Right.
And they don't
Right.
even tolerate it. The way that the
Right.
Canaanite or European or white man has taught many black women to behave, he doesn't accept from his women.
Mm. Mm.
He does not accept it from his women,
Right. But he has you doing.
but he has you doing it.
Mm-hmm.
He told you that that's the way to be.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
These people, professional Canaanite women, are
Mm.
home, are doing things for the family because they understand the survival of their genetics.
Right.
And we need to buy into that notion once again.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And there's so much more we can go into. But I want to turn the car around for a second because there's some other things we need to cover as it pertains to religion because the title is called Fairy Tales Breed Adult Religions. So I was hoping we can cover a little bit of that before you have to leave. Now, if we can just start by explaining, right? And we spoke a little bit last week how um, fairy tales influence adult religions. monotheistic religions and scriptures altogether. And not just how they affect it, but now how do they put unrealistic things into our imagination?
Well, first of all, just looking at unrealistic things in the imagination starts off with the idea of the word religion.
Mm,
When the dominant society that conquers a people, kidnaps a people,
mm,
infiltrates a people, subjugates a people, enslaves a people, and miseducates said people, when that dominant society or group of people, which we biblically call Canaanites, the 11 plus 1 clan sons of Canaan,
mhm, mhm,
when they are the ones teaching you spirituality, you're in trouble.
mm,
The man who rapes you, who castrates you, cannot teach you spirituality
mm,
because there's nothing spiritual about castrating you. There's
mm.
nothing spiritual about raping you.
Right.
There's nothing spiritual about enslaving you. There's
Mm,
nothing spiritual about subjugating you. There's nothing spiritual about miseducating you. So, any person who's directly or indirectly involved in those things towards you cannot be the person that teach you spirituality.
spirituality. Right. Hmm.
That's not a fairy tale, that's a nightmare fairy tale,
Right. Right.
right? Because everything about what he or she and the Baba Elijah Muhammad taught this with Bibi Clara Muhammad, Baba Marcus Mosiah Garvey taught this with Bibi Amy Jacques Garvey, Baba Sheikh Issa, many of the great minds. We cannot go to the person who's enslaving us and expect him to give us poison when it comes to education, poison when it comes to diet, poison when it comes to dress code, but when it comes to religion, believe he's giving us something good.
Right.
And this goes for the
Hmm.
Arabs with their modern day Islam, which is not
Hmm.
ancient African Islam of the West African Timbuktu. We are so that's where the illusion begins. That we
Mm,
believe that the persons who have not just done that, because people say, I'm not responsible for slavery. All right, what about stop and search? What about stop and
mhm,
frisk? You're
mhm,
responsible for
mhm,
that because you voted it
mm.
in.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. What about redlining? You're responsible for that. What about gentrification?
Mhm,
The yuppies who are supposed to be so I don't see racism. You're a yuppie who doesn't see racism, but you're helping to gentrify the black neighborhood.
mm,
You're a good Canaanite white person who doesn't see race, but you're helping to gentrify the black neighborhood. I'm gonna say this again for
mm,
the people in the back of the yellow bus.
mm, mhm,
You are
mhm,
helping to gentrify the black neighborhood, but you're
mm.
not a racist.
Right.
Make it
Mm,
make sense.
mm,
You see? So when we look at the illusion of religion, the way they're giving it to us, if you're a Muslim and you're allowing the Arab Saud family that to this day still sells black bodies and still has black slaves behind those walls, if you're allowing them to dictate to you your spirituality as a Muslim, as a black
mm,
man, then your
mhm.
culture, your blackness, and that's why religion requires that you put away your culture.
Right. Right.
When you're a black person, see
Mhm,
when you're a European, you can be German Christian,
mm,
you can be Russian Christian, you can be Irish Christian, you can be Scottish Christian, you can be English Christian, you can be Italian Christian. You're not asked to give up your Italy. You're not asked to give up your customs. Your if you're Italian,
right.
your cannolis. You're not asked to give up your cannolis. You're not
Mhm.
asked to get, but if you're a Christian who's an African, you have to give up your fufu.
Yeah.
You have to
Mhm,
give up your woolly hair. Everyone else can be their religion, and their religion allows them to still maintain their cultural sense of identification. But if I, as a
mhm,
black person, say I'm a Christian, but I say
mm.
black sire of the black, why is it got to be black?
Mossy Black.
Why is it Coptic? What does
Mhm,
it mean? What
mhm,
so monotheistic teachings today make it to where black people, if you say you're Christian, you got to disconnect from your culture to be a
mm.
true Christian by their definition. If you're a Muslim, oh, we're all one brother. No, because the Pakistani Muslims pray different than the Bangladeshi Muslims, and they
Yes.
pray
Right.
different than the Saudi Muslim, and they play different than the Omanis, and they play different
Mhm,
from the Qataris, and they pray different from the Iranians. So even in their religion, there's differences. But if you, as an African, come from Tuba in Senegal, or come from Timbuktu in Mali, or come from uh, uh, Bapalu in Liberia. Your
Mhm.
Islam says, no, 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 you can't
Mhm.
do that. No, no, no. In
Right.
Islam, we don't do that. We don't sing in Islam. No, y'all don't sing in your Islam.
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
we're Christian, or you're Catholic. See, if you're Catholic and you're a black person, you now have to sing the homilies. Of his
Mhm.
soul,
Yeah.
the Damien song, right? You got
Mhm.
to sing that way. You
Mhm.
can't use your black voice
Mhm.
if you're a Catholic,
Mhm.
because their
Mhm.
songs are not played in the black key.
Right. Right.
Everybody's not playing fair. So the illusion is, it starts right there. The minute
Mhm.
the enslaver is beginning to teach us their version of Christianity, their version of Islam, their
Mhm.
version of Judaism, requires us to giving up our Africanness and our indigenous Caribbean ways and Native American ways.
Mhm.
If you are a Native American of the Seminole or the Washita or the Cheyenne, you can't be Catholic and be that fully. They don't mind you being it once a year. You put on your Native or your Black History Month. Okay, we'll let you do that,
Mhm.
but you can't
Mhm.
be that 360. But
Right.
the Italian who's Catholic is Italian 365,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
365 days a year. They're
That's
Italian.
true.
You
Yes.
follow? And
Mhm.
and so until we change that, now that's just the beginning of the religion. Take that same religion and say, now what is it teaching you?
Mm.
In everybody's religion, their savior looks like them. The
Mm.
Muslims draw Muhammad, he looks like an Arab. If you go to Iran, he looks like an Iranian. Oh, they
Mhm.
don't draw faces of Muhammad. He got white hands, white armpits, and white feet.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
So he's their image. If I go to
Mhm.
Buddha, Buddha looks like them.
Mhm.
India, Brahma looks like them. But when it comes to
Mhm.
you and me, we're not allowed to do the same.
Right. Right. We had a Bible study some weeks ago, and we were able to look at JC, Julius Caesar, Caesar's Gospel. And I'm hoping that you can help bring this together for us. In studying that, right, in the scriptures, and then now speaking about fairy tales, because I want to see if I can bring up the exact page in your book, and you were speaking about Jesus and Snow White, page 286. I won't read a lot of it, but and it's different parts throughout the book. And one of them said, it is physically impossible for a person to be dead for 3 days and rigor mortis starts to set in and the body not begins to decay. If Snow White was not dead, um if Snow White was not dead and was simply unconscious, she would still eventually die because the body cannot survive for long without nutrients, especially water. So there is not a way she would have been either alive and unconscious or dead without decaying for that long period of time. This doesn't make any sense and prepares children for a life of believing in falsehoods, which opens the door for religious doctrines to be applied. Then we went through Snow White and Jesus in different aspects of the dwarfs going away for 3 days and the timing of being near the coffin, how they were buried, etc. And the seven candles, right? And so if we can see how fairy tales take place or how they show up in religions. And we also spoke about JC. How can it be both? Is one the how it actually allows you to imagine it, and the other the reality of who that person was, as in being Julius Caesar? How do you bring both of those together, learning both of them?
Well, what the Caesars would do is every time a new
Hmm.
Caesar came to power, they had
Hmm.
what was called Caesar, no S, Gospels with an S.
Right.
And what it would do is they would write stories about this emperor, how they
Hmm.
became of the 12 Caesars to become Caesar. They had a divine birth, angels sung, all this same type of thing. And they're historical. And this is something we always say to people. We are reading Bible and Quran, We see historical places, countries, nations, people, names, but we never take the time to go study those nations, countries, lands, nations, places, people. We're treating it like it's a spiritual book, but this spiritual book is full of historical, archaeological, science, things that is mentioned there, but we're not investigating. So the history existed first. Caesar existed first. The Caesar's cult or Caesar's church, called the temple or the church of Caesar, they would then take and write stories in different ways, from fairy tales to religious teachings, to keep Caesar's memory alive, like we do today.
Is that like the play, the script, the act of it, the performance?
The performance of it, and it
Mhm,
keeps it alive. It
mhm,
keeps it alive in every
mhm.
generation. The doctrine of three continues. In writing, is a thing called the doctrine of threes,
That was my
right?
next
And,
question.
just look at all of the
Mhm.
top soap, what they call a nighttime story shows that come on, right?
Right.
Friends was three men, three women.
Mhm,
Doctrine of three. Three's Company, one man, two women. Doctrine
mhm,
of threes. Different strokes. White man, his daughter, one child. He adopts two boys. Doctrine of three. Brady Bunch, man with three sons. All of them had hair of gold like their mother. And the woman with three daughters. Doctrine of threes. Partridge Family, doctrine of threes. And I can
mhm,
keep going. And they keep this idea of three, Trinity, 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 Trinity. So it becomes the reason we're so defensive of their religions and spiritual systems is
mhm.
because it's been indoctrinated.
Right.
Spider-Man's Amazing Friends. How many people rolling with Spidey? Spidey,
Mhm,
Ghost Spider, and the
mhm,
little black boy,
mhm,
or the whether
mhm,
it's Miles Morales or the other one,
mhm.
Black Panther. There's always
Right,
three. Or sometimes
right.
it's the Hulk. It's always three. There's always one
Mm,
bad guy in it. There's more than one. There's three. Every show they keep reinforcing this thinking of three, Trinity, triumvirate, Trinity, three, 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 and the mind gets locked in, and thus anything that's structured in that same way becomes acceptable, becomes believable, becomes doable, and it moves all through life, even into the sex. Now everybody's doing threesomes. It's called a threesome. It's literally called a threesome. We're hearing it, but
that's
we're not
true.
hearing it.
That's true. That is
We're
true.
hearing it, but we're not hearing it.
Mm,
We're hearing the word hidden right in front of us, but we're not
mhm.
going, wait a minute. What, somebody is locking us into this system. And
How
this
are you
system,
staying locked there?
because it's everywhere. It's in religion, it's in school, it's in the television, it's in
Mhm,
sports, it's everywhere.
mhm,
The doctrine
mhm,
of three, it's there. They've infused it into every aspect of society. And
mm,
that's how in baseball, there's three infielders and three outfielders. And the shortstop is an infielder, but they're a utility player. They move between the two. Three
mhm,
infielders, three outfielders. In basketball, on defense, they'll run a 1-3-1 or 2-1-2. Everything's this three. In football, you same thing. You have
mhm,
five offensive linemen, five defensive linemen. Then you have your tight end. Then you have three receivers. There's a
mm,
free safety, strong safety. It's the doctrine of three. It keeps the backs. There's three backs in the backfield, a quarterback
mhm,
and two a running back and a fullback. Doctrine of three.
mhm,
There's a linebacker, middle linebacker, outside linebackers. Doctrine of three.
mhm,
I can
mhm.
go from football, go from basketball, go to baseball, go to hockey, leave the sports. We can go to music. Lick,
I
lick,
was gonna
lick
say we
like a
even looked at the
lollipop.
music.
Doctrine of
Right.
three.
Mhm,
It's a hard knock life for us. It's a hard knock life for us. That is it. Three. One, two,
mhm,
three.
mhm, mhm,
The
mhm, mhm,
music
mhm,
has it, and it's being enforced constantly through music, through television,
mhm,
through media, through cinematography, in the school, in the dress. Now, can we get out of it? Yes.
mm,
But that means we got to move to a doctrine of nine. See, when
mm,
Baba Neely Fuller gave us Rel Web, we have
mhm.
to consciously consider nine areas of people activity.
People activity.
Europeans taught us to consider three areas: food, shelter, reproduction. Food, clothing, reproduction. Food, shelter, reproduction. That's three. We said no. Religion, economics, labor, sex, gender, education, law, war, security, entertainment, politics. Where does that come from? Kemet. He told us your body, spirit, soul. We said no. Your body, spirit, soul, ether, plasma, spark of life, inner heart, outer spiritual heart, and mind. Two different doctrines, two different dichotomies. One is telling you there are 9 levels to you religiously, 9 levels to Christ, the 9 spirits, 9 spiritual gifts. The other one says there's 3 gifts. You see? One says you're speaking in tongues, one says you're learning languages. You see? You have to escape it, you must embrace a religion, spirituality, spiritual system, culture that supersedes that number 3.
Okay.
And African cosmologies and theologies and native cosmologies of North and South America, they were based off of 9, sometimes
Mm,
7.
mm,
The people of East India was on 6.
mm-hmm,
But if we're only doing what they say, you are body, spirit, and soul, they got us.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Why?
mm,
Because you have ether. They don't have an etheric body.
right,
So they're never going
right.
to teach you about etheric body. And
Mm-hmm,
with your etheric body, you're going to feel a certain way. But then when
mm,
you feel the way you feel with your etheric body, they're going to label you some type of crazy because they don't
mm-hmm,
have that. Years ago, they
mm-hmm.
used to say that people dream in black and white.
Yes,
This is what they taught, that people
yes. Dream in black and white.
dream
Yes.
in black and white. This was what was taught. Yes? And I'm going to
Yes.
share it with your viewers. This is
Mm-hmm,
still taught today.
mm-hmm.
Now, black people, melanin people, they say it's true. New York Times. Some
Yes.
people dream only in black and white.
Yes.
When? And they used to teach this. So here's somebody's going to teach you you dream in black and white when you dream in color. That's going to
Mm.
affect. So you tell them, yes, and it was a green man. Oh, green man, that's crazy. And then red eyes. Well, red eyes, that's crazy because you had a dream with red eyes. Crazy. You're getting labeled crazy. No, they're crazy because they dream in
Mm,
black and white.
mm,
So your culture, your way of life, your spiritual system, your doctrine, your religious identity, there are
mm.
9 levels to you. You can't get away from 3 until you embrace. It's not just merely saying, I'm going to embrace 9. No, you got
Right.
to embrace a system. If everyone's paying
Mm.
attention tonight, we keep saying we have a system.
System. What's that system? What exactly is that system?
It's called at-oneism or
Mm,
atonism. Atonism is a unification doctrine. What does it unify? It unifies the 9 principles of you, the 9 levels of your being. It takes the spirit of you, the mind of you, the soul of you, the body of you, the heart of you, spiritual heart, the physical heart of you, the plasmatic part of you. It takes these 9 systems and unifies them into a collective psyche, not of individual, but of nation, tribe, kindred. Once nation, tribe, and kindred do that, then our interconnectedness allows nation, tribe, the same way it says it takes a village to raise a child. Where we are the children, where's our village? We're not, I don't care what our age is, we're still children of the Most High Heavenly One. But we're children without a village that's going to help to raise us. Atonism is the unification doctrine. They get it from the Shabaka stone of Shabaka papyrus, and that doctrine taught we are one. We are one. Christ, the Messiah, Jesus Christ, Bible. I and my Father are one. When you see me, you see the Father, for I am in the Father, and the Father is in me, and I'm in you, and you're in me. We are one. He was teaching a oneness doctrine that he had to have learned when he was down in that Nile River Valley as a child up to age 13 or even older than that because they don't catch up to him until he's 29. So with 29 years, he was learning unification doctrine. And that's what made him revolutionary. And that's what made him look at his people and their condition. The African Mahmud, the real African Muhammad. I ain't talking about the Arab, pale Arab Emirate Muslim. I'm talking about the real Muhammad, the real one. from the land of El Gor, of the Ethiopian Cushite people. He saw the conditions of his people and did something about it. The Moses, the real Moses, not the Greek Mopsus, the Moses, Thutmose, the Moses, the real Moses. He saw the condition of his people who had been invaded and whose story had been flipped, who were the good people, the victim that were being turned into the villain, much like melanated people today. So atonism is necessary because it is the doctrine that says, how do I speak to my Christian, Hebrew, Muslim brothers and sisters in a way to bring them together without you having to give up who you are? So, you follow?
Yes.
If you're a
Yes.
Catholic and
Yes.
you become an atonist, you can still say you're Catholic, but you're going
Right.
to understand that religion inside and
Mm-hmm.
out.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be
Mm-hmm.
Muslim, that's fine, but you're not just going to be some Muslim, just Muslim. You're going to be Muslim who understands the religion. And once you do that enough, then you may decide, I don't need that version of it anymore.
Right.
I can
Right.
embrace it within this. We are
Mm-hmm.
the true Hebrews. We're the true Christians. We're the true Muslims.
Right.
We're the true people. We're the Nazarites. And it has a
Mm-hmm.
culture. In the Bible, they
Mm-hmm.
only mention it in Numbers chapter 6, where it says they don't drink strong drink.
Right.
Unless it's sick or something, we're not going to be behind just getting drunk. Why? Because when you get drunk, you start using drugs, start drinking, you start acting a damn fool. You don't do
Mm-hmm.
well. Boom. We
Mm-hmm.
had a
Mm-hmm.
Nazarite named Samson. He started drinking and lost his eyes and lost his wealth. If you want to read the story and understand it in that
Right.
way, that's
Mm-hmm.
atonism, culture.
Right.
Or if atonism don't work for you, Nation of Islam. That don't work for you, join the Moorish Science Temple. Join
Mm-hmm.
something that speaks to your condition.
Right.
But because I'm
Mm-hmm.
a member of the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, and this show is produced by you, Sister Zandi Malinki, then I'm going to push the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah
Mm-hmm.
because I can
Mm-hmm.
speak and I can attest to what it is speaking to, what it represents, and what its goal is. Because ultimately,
Right.
we got to save the Black family. But we can't
Mm-hmm.
save the Black family if we don't define Black and
That's
we don't
true.
define family. And we can't define
Mm-hmm.
Black, we can't define family if we don't have a culture and a religion, a spiritual
Mm-hmm.
system. Some people don't like the word religion. I love the word religion. I don't like wrong religion. I don't
Right.
want the religion of other, but don't tell me we ancient Africans didn't have religion when we built the Church of Liabelli, 11 of them way before Rome and Greece ever had anything. Before the Vatican was constructed, we had Liabelli,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? We had Aksum, we had Hippo, we had Tunisia, we had Libya, Funt, right? We had the Great Walls of Zimbabwe, we had Timbuktu, we
Mm-hmm.
had these
Mm-hmm.
mega cities, these megaliths, massive cities and universities and spiritual systems and prayer. We had this
Mm-hmm.
before them, and we will have it when they're long gone.
Once again. Yes. That's true. Yes. Now I know you have to get out of here soon. So I just want to ask you this last question. Today's title is The Expectations That Fairy Tales Set in Our Minds, right? In our minds specifically. And moving into a system, right? If someone decided, I want to look at this system, I want to see what this system is about. And maybe I am in a system, but I'm not embracing the system. So understanding the expectations that fairy tales set in our minds, what expectations does reality through this system set in our minds? What does that look like? And how does a person move from fairy tale into reality when that has been everything that they know, from the time they were a child to now? They were raised in the fairy tale, so now you're
Right.
telling me that love doesn't look the same. All of these different things are going to
No, I'm not.
change for
No,
me.
no, wait.
So
I'm not telling you it don't look the same. Your
okay.
life's track record tells you it don't look the same. When
Mm,
we're on partner number 97, I'm not the one saying it don't work. No, no. We
mm.
got to be adults about it, right? When everybody, men, women, right? When we're adults in
Yes.
our 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, and we look and we can count more partners in our life than we got fingers and toes, that means it didn't work. No,
Welcome to the
that's just
Vantage Point with Reverend Dr. AJ Varma.
yeah, well, it is what it is, right?
If you didn't
Right?
know.
When we have
Yes.
made that many mistakes following a system, then it's not
Hmm.
Dr. Varma that's telling you it didn't work.
That's true. That's
It's
true.
not. This is not breaking news. This ain't CNN. This is your reality.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once you can accept that, right? If I can
Yes.
sit and go, that
Yes.
one didn't work, and that one didn't work, And I tried that one and that didn't work. And I don't just mean didn't work. I mean the duration, right? If you're in a relationship 10, 20 years, didn't work, and you get another relationship 10, 20 years, okay, makes sense. At least there's a duration. But if I'm in a relationship 2 months, 3 months, a year, boom, next one, 2 months, 3 months, next, boom, 2 months, 3 months, next, boom, two, it starts to sound like a rap song that we're in trouble, male or female. That
Yes.
says it's not working. What's the
Mm.
definition of insanity? To
On the
continue to
same
do the
thing
same
over and
thing
over,
over and over again and
expecting a
expect
different
different
result.
results. So, if
Mm.
I am a man and I get together, and 3 months later I'm with another woman, and 6 months later another woman, and 3 months later another woman, and 6 months later another woman, I'm insane
Mm.
because I'm
Mm.
repeating the same thing, and something
Mm.
inside of me is supposed to be like, stop.
Stop.
What's
Yeah.
what? Why is it I'm in this cycle? It's a
Mm.
vicious cycle. So
Mm-hmm.
we would say to any of your listeners, if you find yourself in a cycle, first acknowledge I'm in a cycle.
Mm.
If I took you and shoved you in the washing machine or the dryer, right, and put the
Mm-hmm.
cycle on, you would say, I got to stop this machine.
Right.
And I got to figure out how I got in here and how to get out.
Mm.
And the
Mm-hmm.
way Barbara Henry Clark taught us is he said, John Henry Clark, presume everything you've been taught has been a lie
Then I lie.
and question everything from this day forth.
Mm.
Question everything we said tonight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you disagree. There's people who are going to watch this. I don't agree. I don't agree. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just disagree. Prove
No.
what we're saying wrong. Well, how would I prove that?
Mm-hmm.
Show me other great black thinkers, men or
Mm-hmm.
women of the past who agreed with what your way of doing things. Right? I always ask sisters this question and I ask brothers on the other way. I say, tell me a female teacher that you look up to, whose life you teacher, important person that you look up to, whose life you're trying to emulate. And if you don't have one, you cannot become what you can't see. If you don't have an example
Mm.
of what you're trying to become, you'll never
Mm.
become it.
Right.
You have to have
Right.
an example of what we always have example of the relationship we want. Oh, I want the relationship like my cousin and his wife. Okay,
Mm.
but your cousin and his wife are Muslim and they pray
Mm.
5 times a day and they
Mm-hmm.
fast Ramadan
Mm.
and she wears a hijab. You wearing a mini skirt.
Mm-hmm.
You want your
Mm-hmm.
cousin type. You want mini skirt love, but she don't wear mini skirt. So
Right.
you're disconnected from the reality. That goes both
Yes.
men and women. We
Mm.
have to say everything I've been taught has been a lie. Now let me start to learn some truths. Let me go get Message to the Black Man and read it.
Mm.
Let me get Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man. Black men read the Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, but I can bet 8 out of 10 women that I can grab right now and say, did you finish reading the Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man? Answer, nope. Thus, you don't really want to understand the Black man.
Mm.
A book
Mm.
was written by a woman and her husband called The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black
Understanding the
Man.
black man.
And most Black women never read it. And then say, I just want to understand you. I'm trying to learn you. I want to know why you feel the way you feel. I said, read the book. The book's going to tell you. I wrote a book, Nubian Male. Is the Nubian man an endangered
Mm-hmm.
species? Did you read that? No. So you don't really
Mm.
want to know what Black men are feeling or thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Right.
say to the
Right.
brothers the same thing. You want to understand why Black women, this Black, did you read the Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read the Gene Isis, Rise of the Divine Feminine? No. Did you read Francis Cress Welson's ISIS papers? No. So you're a person that don't read the instructions to life. These
Right.
are
Mm.
life instructions, whether it's
Yes.
Bible, Quran,
Yeah.
Veda, whatever the text. These are instructions from the ancients to tell us from people from our distant past and not so
Mm.
distant past, and some even still alive in the present, that we pray to stay alive a long time. Clenora Hudson Weems, Marimba Annie, and Shahrazad Ali. And they're
Mm-hmm.
giving Black women, here's the answers. Neely Fuller, Elijah Muhammad, Sheikh Issa, Farrakhan, Minister Louis gave Black men, here's the answer. Nah, nah, nah. I don't need them answers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I got this. I'm a grown man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a grown woman. Are you? Neely Fuller said, stop telling yourself you're an adult. You ain't doing no adulting.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't determining the future of your offspring.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing that makes you an adult? What am I doing that makes me an adult? What are we doing that
Mhm.
makes us adults? And that's a hard, that's that big horse pill.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like that big, and nobody wants to swallow it, but it don't matter if
Yeah.
you want to swallow it. It's the reality we face, and we can do it. We can do this. We're not
Mm.
invalids. We are not invalids. We are highly functioning people, but we
Yeah.
can't keep following their playbook and not picking
Mm.
up ours. Raising Black Boys, Amos Wilson. Have you read that? That, yeah, that is the only. That's all I got. Pray it help.
Okay. I wasn't cutting you off.
No, no, no.
I was
I heard the go. You gotta go music. I know what the go. You gotta go music sounds
no,
like.
no, no. It wasn't that. I was softening the message. That's all. No, I'm just kidding. No, perfect. Perfect. Can you please let anyone watching know where they can join, where they can find out more about the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, yourself?
I would tell people go to first of all, you can go to www.journeyhomegroup.com. Right, that's our website. On there, you can. There's a phone number there 646-479-9465. You can text if you'd like to know more. You can go to our Facebook page, The Holy, or just type in QUBTIC, Coptic Church. You'll see a bunch of them come up. Go to the one that says International, and
Mhm.
that'll help you. You'll be able to link with us. You can go to our YouTube page, which is the Coptic TV. Coptic TV. You can always come to the Vantage Point with Sister Azandi Maliki, who's one of our members. She's always bringing on guests, some that are members, some that are non-members, but people in consciousness, conscientiousness, who are speaking this truth to the power of who you are. We're on Instagram. We're also on TikTok. I think we're on TikTok, right? And so there's
Yes.
different ways
Mhm.
people can go online and link up. You can go to the website. You can get
Mhm.
children's fairy tales, breed adult religions, and you can ask questions. And then every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 p.m. GMT, we have the Wednesday in the Word, the True Life Fellowship Hour. I come on and we take questions and answers. We we do questions and answers. We do subjects. We read the Bible. We read the Quran. What else? You can go to I think they're putting it on the bottom of the screen right now, the Instagram and the Facebook. You can screenshot it or you'll see it on the YouTube when this plays again at the Righteous Jewels. You can, I mean, there's a lot. There's those are ways you can find out more. And then on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. GMT, we have the Atonis Corestian Sunday worship series again, question and answers, topics where people can learn and share sup with. And that's just it. It's the only thing we can do because the world is racism back, y'all. I don't know if we see it's back. It's on fleek, as the young people would say. It is ready to go. Racism then got a BBL, right? It got racism then got its. It is
I'm
here,
done.
and, I say it not trying to
Mm.
be funny, but I'm saying it because to keep from crying, you got to sometimes find a way to smile.
Laugh,
The
yes.
reality is we can see it. It's bubbling and it's going to keep getting worse. But when Garvey and them saw the same thing, when Elijah Muhammad and them saw the same thing, when Sheikh Issa saw the same thing, when others, great teachers, when Mandela and Kwame Nkrumah and all, they organized, they came together, they turned back towards their system. They had a Pan-Africanist agenda. They
Mhm.
operated in what was necessary, and they did as men and women what were necessary. It's time. I think we had enough fun. I think we ran enough street.
Yes.
I think we rolled up enough weed. I think we had enough threesomes. I think we had enough,
Mhm.
buggery. I think we got our body counts. Our numbers is up there. I think we
Mhm.
at some point. I think we should say we've burned out our taste for debauchery,
Exactly.
and now
Right.
let's turn back towards who we know we're supposed to be. Let's turn back towards righteousness. Let's embrace
Mhm.
righteousness. Let's be right people. Let's be righteous again. Right. At some point, we got to
Mhm.
give up this whatever this is that we've become and get back to
Right.
what we know we're supposed to be. Choice is ours. Either way,
Amen.
racism back. I promise you that it is not playing. Every day I turn on the news and I go,
Mm.
"Oh, this won't he do it? Look at him."
Another one. Yes. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. Anytime you visit us and spend time here with us on the Vantage Point, I want everyone to go check out the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah and Reverend Dr. AJ Varmah. Now, here on the Vantage Point, you'll catch it all. I know you said, what kind of church talks like that? What kind of here you'll catch it all. Okay, this is the Vantage Point, and we're always going to leave with scripture. Isaiah 29:10 talks about this spirit of deep sleep. The Lord have poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep. But guess what? It's time to awaken. It's time to wake up. This is your scripturally conscious and awaken podcast channel that we're asking you to continue to tune in, continue to join us, and share this message of truth. Again, I'm your host, Sister Zani Malinki, and until next time, be blessed.